Hi there, welcome to Stand Up Daily. I am your host, Pete Dominic, and I was unfortunately unable to get a show posted yesterday. I was living in cancellation hell. I had 3 cancellations over 48 hours. Usually I don't even have one a week, but a lot of things came up for guests, and so I just didn't get to post a show. Took a bunch of other calls and meetings and did a whole bunch of other stuff, but I am sorry about that. Very busy, though, on Tuesday for your Wednesday, and happy Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving Eve to you. Thank you very much for pressing play. I've got Lizz Winstead stopping by. We had a great conversation yesterday live. Several of you were watching on YouTube or Substack. Liz was live on her Instagram. That's what everybody's doing now. Everybody just goes on each other's channels live or interviews each other, and that's kind of one way that you're seeing a lot of this independent media that I'm a part of trending. Hope you like it. Hope you like the conversations I'm having, and let me know who you want me to invite on. And I would always love to have you join us live. So follow over at Substack at Stand Up With Pete and YouTube at Stand Up With Pete. You can comment along with us, which is always fun. So Lizz Winstead is coming up, but I got your shit show, a whole bunch of stories. It's been a kind of a slow news-ish couple days, but that doesn't mean there's not always an avalanche. There always is. It's just a little slower than maybe other days, yet still major stories that I want to share with you. A few clips I've gathered as well, and we'll jump to my conversation with Lizz Winstead. Or you could just skip it all and jump to it right now. It starts at 27 minutes. Can't do any of it without you. Thank you very much for your support. Patreon.com/Pete Dominic is the place to go to sign up, to join, to be a member of our community. PodJam 3 is on April 9th in Las Vegas. Very excited. Hope you can make it. Details to follow, but there's a link for more information in the subscriber show notes. All right. Also, short on vitamin N. Get outside. Send me some vitamin N. Sometimes you flood me. Sometimes there's a trickle. Sometimes there is a drought, and I haven't seen too many. So send over your nature pictures. Get outside on Thanksgiving Day, where, by the way, expecting 3 to 8 inches of snow, where we're going to be in Syracuse, New York. So I got to get those snow tires on or else. All right, let's get to those headlines now. One story I wanted to tell you about, Washington Post reporting that soaring electricity prices are triggering a wave of power shutoffs nationwide, leaving more Americans in the dark as unpaid bills are piling up. Although there is no national account of electricity shutoffs, data from select utilities in 11 states show that disconnections have risen in at least 8 of them since the last year. In some areas, such as New York City, the surge has been so dramatic, with residential shutoffs in August up 5-fold from a year ago. Now in Pennsylvania, power shutoffs have risen 21% this year, with more than 270,000 households losing electricity. The average electricity bill in the state has risen 13% from a year ago as utilities upgrade electric grids to accommodate a burst of new data centers. That's one reason. Overall, Americans are paying 11% more for electricity than they were in January. That is a very big deal. Electricity is going up. Health insurance is going up. Healthcare is going up. Everything at the grocery store is going up. Utility prices have risen roughly 3 times faster than overall inflation this year. At a precarious time for the economy, they write at the Washington Post. Businesses are announcing layoffs, and it's taking unemployed Americans much longer to find new work. Also, signs that lower and middle-class families are pulling back on spending. Energy economist Mark Wolf said, with prices growing up so rapidly, electricity has become unaffordable in many parts of the country. And it's not just lower-income households anymore. It's spilling into the middle class. And a majority of Americans, 6 in 10, say they are spending more on utilities than they were a year ago. And guess who they're blaming for the rising prices? That's right, King Hungry the Eighth. You guessed it. This is all according to Washington Post, ABC News Ipsos poll conducted in late October. 6 in 10 say they're spending more on utilities. So, going to be a long winter, folks. I really should talk with David Roberts or some other energy expert about where we are at with all of it. All right, what else do I want to share with you? How about this? The regime now planning to review all refugees admitted to the U.S. during the Biden administration, according to a memo obtained by the Associated Press, in the latest blow against a program that has for decades welcomed people fleeing war and persecution into the country. So let's not take our eye off of that. Good reporting by the Associated Press. Nearly 200,000 refugees who came to the United States during that period. It's likely to face legal challenges from advocates, and we should be supporting those advocates. But a shocking, or I should say not shocking, but horrific story nonetheless. Here's an interesting story coming out of Florida because, Florida Republicans, of course, fiercely backed Uncle Scam for pretty much everything. But now, guess what? They're getting scammed because they basically promised to give the oil industry anything they wanted. But Florida Republicans, they don't want oil drilling off their coast. Florida Democrats, of course, broadly oppose the Trump administration's plans to drill off an area off the state's coast. But Florida Republicans, including their senators, their congressmen, and their Republican governor are all speaking out as well. I'm sorry. Awful, though. The administration regime said they're basically drilling everywhere. We'll see if they can actually do it. I'll believe it when I see it. Off California in the Alaskan Arctic refuge. Definitely got to get somebody to talk about all that as well. How about this story? Pete Hegseth versus the Boy Scouts. The century-old partnership between the U.S. military and scouting could be coming to an end. The defense secretary and DUI hire Pete Hegseth is planning for the military to sever all ties with Scouting America, saying the group, once known as the Boy Scouts, is no longer a meritocracy and has become an organization designed to attack boy-friendly spaces, according to documents reviewed by NPR. That is a hell of a story and worth absolutely mentioning and following. I don't know what's going on with Russia, Ukraine, these negotiations. A lot of great reporters to follow, a lot of really good reporting, but it is confusing, and I highly recommend you do follow this one. Basically think that Ukraine is agreeing to some set of agreements made by some parties, and Russia will then just break all those agreements, and the war will continue. At least that's one perspective, valued Ukrainian perspective that I saw. Also wanted to mention this. How about this? In June, the two older Trump boys, Eric and Don Jr., had an event at Trump Tower where they touted a new made-in-the-USA mobile phone with an American flag on its back. Remember this? They had this new wireless service called Trump Mobile. Well, the phone was the Trump brand's first foray into mobile products and services. According to the initial announcement, the phone was supposed to be released in August. But 3 months later, there are no signs that the phone has become a reality. Wait a second. NBC News made 5 separate phone calls to the Trump mobile customer support line between September and November. At one point in October, the call operator promised a specific ship date, November 13th. But guess what? That date passed without an update. And when NBC followed up with the call center, an operator said the delivery would now be at the beginning of December, but with no specific date. In late June, the same month that the phone was announced, the website removed any mention of made in the USA, as was originally promised. Instead, the website now says the phone is brought to life right here in the USA. So brought to life. That's where you plug it in. If you get it, you're not getting it. You're not getting that phone. Uncle Scam got you again. Oh! And finally, this new segment called The Fever is Breaking, Mugga Fracture, or whatever. Anytime I see signs of the fever breaking and big supporters turning tail, as we thought or hoped they would, I'll mention it. Longtime Trump supporter named Amy Vandersteel is today's winner. She writes, "It's over. The whole MAGA psyop is over. It's America only. Ride or die. Don't slide into my DMs whining about flipping on Trump. No, he flipped on us. And if you come at me with some 5D chess crap, you're going to get a block. Why is Epstein the dividing line? Why are the talking parrot head influencers still backing someone who has told us we are not America first and that we are panicans? I am an America first. Full stop. Loyalty is a two-way street." Marge Green responds to that post, writing, "This sums up almost every call and text message I've had all weekend." Wow. Well, the fever is breaking. All right. That's the new segment. The fever is breaking. And finally, tonight, rest in peace, Viola Fletcher. She was a child in 1921, saw her affluent black neighborhood torched by white people in what became known as the Tulsa Race Massacre. It was one of the most violent acts of racial violence in American history. And a century later, she testified in Congress to the terror she witnessed in the hope of winning reparations. She passed away. She was 111 and the oldest survivor of the attack, Viola Fletcher. All right. Well, that is all I've got for you in the headlines today. Now it's time to get to the clip show. Let's start with former Bush administration speechwriter and Atlantic contributor David Frum. He was on CNN. And he had a pretty good point about who exactly is breaking the law in the Department of Defense. Is it Pete Hegseth or Senator Scott Kelly and Democrats who are warning people not to break the law?
Secretary Hegseth has issued these tweets in which he said the Department of War is going to prosecute Senator Kelly. And then you had a clip at the top of your show from the White House press secretary, Carolyn Leavitt, saying the Secretary of War, the Department of War would never issue any legal order. Well, Calling it the Department of War is an illegal order. Congress arranged the Department of Defense in 1947. It passed a law in 1949 titling the Department of Defense the Department of Defense. It did so because a few years before that, the United States had hanged a bunch of Japanese generals for the crime of waging offensive war and wanted to make clear that the United States would fight only in self-defense, according to the rules of international law that the United States had imposed on Japan and Nazi Germany. Every time that, in violation of act of Congress, the secretary makes up these titles for himself, Secretary of Partying, Secretary of War, whatever he calls himself, those are illegal orders too. And so they're not the most morally offensive illegal orders, but they are illegal. And every time he gives himself his title, he's proving he is willing to issue illegal orders because the department was organized and named by act of Congress. The president unilaterally cannot change that.
Well, there you go. How about it? What do you think? Did you make a good case? I don't know. That's true. Here is our Queen Jasmine Crockett. She was testifying, or this was this shadow. Democrats held a shadow hearing on the conduct of Dopey McGropey in the White House. And here is Jasmine Crockett.
And of immigrants. This is not the best of America. I know someone promised that they would make America great. I am telling you that they are doing just the opposite. I am telling you that we are a land of immigrants. It is time to do immigration right. It is time to make sure that we live up to the promise of this country. The idea that someone ran and said that I will get rid of the bad guys, yet we know more than 50% of the people that are currently being detained in custody have no criminal records at all. Zero, nada. So tell me why you are taking those people out of their communities. They are our neighbors. They are our friends. And frankly, they contribute to the fabric of this country. They are what make this country great, not your thuggish ICE agents who literally are spitting on our Constitution, as well as everything that we think patriotism ought to be.
All right. There you go. Good stuff from Jasmine Crockett, as always. And here now is conspiracy theorist and huge supporter of Donald Trump for years, Alex Jones, one of the worst people in the world. If you can get through all the nonsense here and all the God stuff, at the very end, he makes a very major announcement about whether or not he's going to continue supporting Donald Trump.
And I'm just going to say it point blank. I'm not a bandwagon person. I don't pile on when other people are doing something. But I know MTG well. She's a woman of incredible integrity, brought up poor, self-made, very successful construction company, a woman of great integrity. She announced last night that she is resigning. I predicted on the Tuesday broadcast, she didn't tell me this, but I talked to her at length, and it sounded to me like she was thrown in the towel just because she can't be part of something that's, quote, a lesser of two evils. And she's very popular in her district, wins by some of the widest margins of anyone in Congress. And we'll play her statement here in a moment, but that ties into all of this. But I'm not saying this because of what she just did. I'm going to have to reflect on this, and I'm going to have to pray about it, and I'm going to take a few weeks on it, I think, is the most important thing to do. But I'm not a person that is normally conflicted. I think I have a lot of knowledge, a lot of depth, a lot of sources, a lot of context. And when I do get conflicted on something, I just have to go to God with it. And pray about it a lot, and then go to that place that King David talked about, the quiet place, the Most High, and then I'm going to make my decision. And I mean, if God tells me tonight, I'll make my decision, but I am seriously inches away from not supporting Trump anymore. Because I am not going to watch him commit political suicide.
Oh, wow. Big news from Alex Jones. Is it just a tease? Is it just for ratings? I don't know. Why would he say that? Here is John Tester, the former senator from Montana. He was talking about how things are going for rural Americans on the Tent Pod. Here is John Tester.
The truth is rural America is getting pounded. That big, beautiful bill did some pretty bad things to rural hospitals. It did bad things to hospitals across the board, but rural hospitals in particular, because they are so close to going under before all this stuff happened, then you do what they did with Medicaid, Medicare, and what they're continuing to do with not putting the subsidies in for insurance, which is just going to cause more uninsured, more charity care, and it's going to put these hospitals at an incredible position where they're going to be faced with closure, quite frankly. And as I tell folks, which is a fact, if you're over the age of 50 and you don't have access for health care, you cannot live in those communities, period. And in Montana, where we're fairly old anyway, and in agriculture, where we're even older, it really does literally drive a nail in the coffin to rural America.
All right, well, we'll see about that. And if so, who will they blame? Senator John Tester there. All right, I like this clip from the comedian Adam Friedlander. Is that his name? He's pretty popular now, and he was talking to Adam Friedland. Sorry, he was talking to the new mayor-elect of New York after he met with Trump, and I thought it was very interesting. Here it is.
I sit down waiting, and in front of me are like all these different coffee table books, and one of them is UFC at the White House.
Oh, yeah, he's bringing it there, right?
I had no idea, but I was
in the rows
flipping through that.
Are you going to go?
No.
Are you? How did you not laugh? We were all dying, and I'm like, my boy Zoran was like just straight face.
Honestly, I was just thinking about New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the whole time I was trying to think about the difference between if you have a White House that is working towards an affordability agenda or one that's making it harder to live in the city.
Yeah.
That's kind of what kept...
The president sees your popularity. He loves the ratings. Ton of reporters. Handsome. I think he thought handsome. Did you ever... Eyes up here, Mr. President? You were elected because you were trusted on your policies for affordability. Do you think he's maybe a little bit trying to like swagger Jack a little bit?
There are a lot of places of disagreement. One of the things that was remarkable to me is I told him that our campaign started on October 23rd of last year, but the moment when some people started paying attention was after he won the presidency. We did the video on Fordham Road, Hillside Avenue. Yeah. We talked to Trump voters and we asked them why they voted for him. And it just went back to cost of living and it went back to cheaper groceries. And that was a lot of our campaign.
He liked that it was 1 in 10, right? That's like he liked.
1 in 10.
He liked.
Did you see the guy who has the MAGA from Mamdani hat?
Yeah. Do you think it was a prank?
Well, I had a member of the NYPD pull me aside and they're like, I just want you to know that there is a man in your line of sight with a red MAGA hat. We checked and he's actually sincerely here for the rally.
Oh, nice. Did you expect him to like you as much as he did?
I was trying to prepare for a lot of different situations.
I know. It's like when you're on that plane taking that selfie, I mean, that could have gone in any direction. Were you like...
I mean, honestly felt like the most productive meeting we could have had.
Yeah.
I mean, a meeting where we talked about ULURP, we talked about groceries, Con Ed, rent, childcare. That feels like the best meeting you could have.
Yeah. Were Eric or Donald Jr. there?
No.
Did you worry that like to see that was maybe difficult for them?
No, I wasn't thinking about that.
Maybe it's like the hang has just been so bad. This cool guy came, and he's like, now I have to go back to these guys. Did he say, can you sleep over? Did he come up to New York and see you?
He didn't ask me that.
Oh, man. I mean, it was one of the most surreal things we've ever seen as Americans.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. Well, here is a Republican congresswoman calling for war with Venezuela, saying that we have to have their oil. Pretty right on the nose, pretty honest. Will it happen? I sure hope not. But there apparently is a $50 million bounty on Nicolas Maduro's head right now. Here it is from, I think, Newsmax and one of those right-wing channels where the anchor was also reading for it.
I mean, I would love to see a change in government. My wife's from Nicaragua. We know how terribly the dictators there rely on Venezuelan oil. But at the same time, a lot of Americans don't want actual U.S. participation in regime change in Venezuela. They would much prefer the Venezuelans to do it on their own. Do you think the pressure that Maduro has received will force him to leave on his own?
Oh, I think Maduro is not Fidel Castro. Maduro is not a brave boy. So now that he has understood that he's on that very nefarious list of the terrorist organization, that the airspace above Venezuela has been closed off and the commercial airlines from the United States are not flying, he's understanding that we're about to go in. He understands that he has been our enemy for the last 25 years. Venezuela, for those Americans who do not understand why we need to go in, basically for three reasons. You're in Fox Business. Venezuela, for the American oil companies, will be a field day because it will be more than $1 trillion in economic activity. American companies can go in and fix all the oil pipe, the whole oil rigs, and everything that has to do with the Venezuelan petroleum companies, or everything that has to do with oil and the derivatives.
All right, so we'll see what happens in Venezuela. But that was pretty gross and disgusting, wasn't it? Huh? All right, finally, let's get some comedy, shall we? Jimmy Kimmel was live on ABC last night, and, well, this is a little bit of what he had to say in his monologue.
Uncle Scam also treated the gathered crowd to a fairy tale about how low the price of food is now since he took office.
Walmart announced that the cost of their standard Thanksgiving meal is 25% lower. The price of Thanksgiving turkey is down 33% from its Biden-era highs. Potatoes are down 13%, and gasoline will soon be hovering around $2 a gallon.
Yeah. Just like your weight is hovering around 175. I guess in a way, the fact that he thinks he's thin enough to make fun of fat people makes it easier to understand why we think gas costs $2 a gallon, which it does not. In fact, if you're on the road and you see a sign that says gas $2 a gallon over the break, do me a favor and post that with the hashtag Gasolini, because, he says it's $2 a gallon. It must be true. They say this Thanksgiving could see the most travel in 15 years. AAA says there will be at least 73 million people on the road this year, which is interesting because how could they possibly know that? How do they know how many of us are going to be on the road? Are they counting dads sighing at gas stations? What data points could the people who send you a tow truck every 18 months have to anticipate the number of family road? Who's letting AAA know they're off to Nani's condo for the holiday? We spent a lot of time questioning vaccines. No one ever raises an eyebrow about this. Thanksgiving week is also the worst week of the year for plumbers. The day after Thanksgiving is known to shoppers as Black Friday. It's known to plumbers as Brown Friday. That is not a joke. That's for real. So many people get their toilets clogged. They gave it a name, Brown Friday. It actually goes back a long way to the first Thanksgiving, and you can see, if you look closely at this painting, you can see that little girl. She celebrated the first Brown Friday. She's needing to go to the bathroom so bad, she's waiting for someone to invent it. But I, for one, choose to embrace Brown Friday. Is it repulsive? Yes, it is. But it also reminds me of what we have in common. One nation, under God, living in a country with such a plentiful bounty, we can eat to the point where our toilets are so full professionals need to be called in. Brown Friday doesn't care about what color you are, who you voted for, or what God you worship. Brown Friday unites all Americans, from the Italian family in Staten Island who serve stuffed manicotti with their turkey to the farmers in Iowa who deep fry theirs. From the hills of Alaska to the swamps of Florida, from the deserts of Arizona to the lighthouses of Maine, women and men are spending 45 minutes in the bathroom with their phones, clogging their plumbing like a snake choking on a capybara. And rotos will be rooted on Brown Friday. Amen.
All right, Jimmy Kimmel Live, and let's do a little bit more, few more jokes with Seth Meyers from his monologue last night on NBC's Late Night with Seth Meyers.
The news: President Trump met with New York Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani on Friday in the Oval Office. And as for how it went, I think this picture says it all. Look at how happy. That's the way my dad grins when the waiter finally laughs at one of his jokes. Waitress. When Mamdani was asked during a meeting in the Oval Office if he still believes President Trump is a fascist, Trump told Mamdani, quote, "You could just say yes, it's easier." Wait. So he could call you a fascist, but when I do it, you try to get my show canceled? What? What does he have that I don't? Youth? Charisma? Oh, both of those? Fine. When asked if he would feel comfortable living in New York City under Mamdani, President Trump said that he would. Yeah, clearly. Not only does he want to live in New York, he wants it to be bunk beds in Gracie Mansion. When asked last week if President Trump ever uses AI, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, quote, "I don't think so. He's perfectly capable of coming up with the wrong answer all by himself." That's right. When asked last week if President Trump ever uses AI, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, quote, "I don't think so. Oh, let me help you. He does." That isn't just really good lighting. First Lady Melania Trump supervised the arrival today of the official White House Christmas tree, and she's really excited to try out her new wood chipper. Because I don't believe she liked Christmas. Thanksgiving is 3 days away, and to celebrate, he's bringing back smallpox. We're in the part of the monologue known as Bummer Alley. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker visited Pope Leo in Vatican City last week and brought a 4-pack of DePope beer, continuing the long Chicago tradition of drinking 2 on the way over. A New Jersey family was recently reunited with their cat more than 10 years after it went missing. The reunion occurred when the family decided to move the couch. Oh! There you are. The cat was alive, right? Yeah. Everybody here just jumped to, I guess it's because we've been bumming them out so much with the other dude. And finally, the New York Giants yesterday became the first NFL team to be eliminated from playoff contention, which, let's face it, is the only way fans were going to hear Giants and first in the same sentence. And that was a monologue.
All right, there you go. Seth Meyers, Jimmy Kimmel, some laughs here, and you're going to get some more laughs, hopefully, coming up when I talk to Lizz Winstead, who is my very special guest today. You should check her out and support her organization at Abortion Access Front. You should follow her on all the social medias, including Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky, and see her live in Minneapolis, December 27th and 31st. It's her annual year-end wrap-up. Very funny. We love Lizz Winstead, and we had a great conversation yesterday. Always love when we get to talk. aafront.org. Everybody go check it out. Support them. Support Liz. Support me. Support yourself. Let's do it with Lizz Winstead. Look who I got. A big name, a big deal. She's just traveled across the country to be with us, I think is the reason.
I think it's exactly correct. I had to drive to do a virtual thing because that's the way, Pete, your tech head works. You're practically Elon in your brilliance around tech.
Thank you. That is really kind. Really kind. Last week you said I'm America's little brother, which was the kindest thing. And now today I'm practically Elon, which means I'm the first. I'm pro-apartheid.
Yeah, and a trillionaire. So congratulations.
Almost there. Almost
trillionaire
there.
Nazis. That's what we're looking for.
Well, listen, they're back. They're back.
I know. I just watched some video of a progressive South African interviewing Elon's dad. I'm sure you've seen it. It just happened. I don't know how it ended up in my stream, but he was just like, how do you feel that America, in a few years is just going to be I don't even understand what minority means. Once you're a minority, you're a minority. That's some white people shit right there, right? It's like, oh my God, how about white people will just no longer be the majority instead of saying you're a majority. The whole thing was crazy, but his dad was having none of it. What are we supposed to do? He was like, disagreed apartheid was bad. He was like, I never witnessed it. I was like, what?
Yeah, Elon's a really terrible person, and you know why. If you know his dad for 10 seconds.
People. Oof.
Yeah, his dad was a cartoon villain, and so is he. And and so are all of them. I used to think, I feel like nowadays, almost to say that you identify as a Republican, you're almost identifying as a person without shame, especially given all of the men. All kinds of men of different backgrounds can be abusive, horrible men. I just want to believe that some people still believe in shame, whereas a lot of Republican men are just excusing calling a reporter piggy or a terrible person or grab him by the pussy. If you can look the other way on that, it means you don't have any shame or regard. And that's called being today's Republican is my new conclusion.
Yeah, I'm really still hearing some people still saying MAGA Republican, like that's a thing, when it's just Republican. You either foundationally, unwittingly, because you were just a greedy corporate asshole, or wittingly because you literally believe that patriarchy is the dominant force in how we live our lives. But you were foundationally responsible for where we are now. And you can say all you want and be all never Trumpy and whatever. We all know that if it was a different Republican with a different messenger, those same justices would be on the Supreme Court. The same bill would have landed, the big, beautiful, whatever the fuck that thing is. They'd still defund Planned Parenthood. They'd still have a terrible immigration policy. They'd still be racist. It's like reasonable Republicans created the Roberts Court, which, gutted the Civil Rights Act, gutted Roe v. Wade. So stop saying MAGA Republican. You're just that. Like, live with that, be that. So that I just want to know at this point, Pete, I'm like, I just want to know where everybody stands. Please say it out loud. I don't want to censor anybody's words. I just want to hear it all so I know who to avoid. I know who the enemy is. I just want to know it all at this point.
But just to be clear, I still think that if in the Democratic Party or everything that's not Republican, your campaign for elected office would still be sunk if certain allegations came out about something you'd done to a woman, to a minor, any kind of sexual assault scandal. You would not be able to win a primary as a Democrat. Am I right or wrong? We still have like a standard for the outside the Republican Party for our elected leaders.
I guess we do. We just don't have that same standard for Democratic comedians who've done shitty things. They get to come soaring back into the we love you sphere. And
fair, no, I think that's a fair, like, for a lot of jobs. I mean, comedian is a pretty low standard. It's not like there's an HR department or, a kind of a test you have to pass to get a license. Anybody can do it, obviously. But
Mr. Fine.
Beautiful pup just showed up. But I'm saying to being elected, to win a primary, specifically to be elected. You're right about other jobs.
Yeah, I think that's true. I do think that that's true. And when you look at, which I do look at, and I do keep stock and take names of all of the people that come, most of the people, that come through in weird pedophilia and weird sex with minors and raping of children and minors, the amount of youth ministers and youth leaders and Christian this and that, it's the doth protest too much crowd that's constantly doing it, And saying that, does that mean RFK is not a pedophile? Because he apparently just puts everything out there. That guy just Cleveland steaming his way across America and running our nation's health department. It is so next level that look, he and Andrew Cuomo, you just need to get a dom to literally just pee on you or whatever it is that you need, because you clearly have an insatiable appetite for humiliation. I don't know how many ways people can say, we don't want you, but I did not consent to be part of your public humiliation party. Take that shit indoors privately. I don't want to be part of it. I don't want to be part of it. Did not volunteer.
People are dying that you said Cleveland steam your way. It should be mentioned, just before we went live, Liz and I were joking around about these types of sexual it wasn't right top of her mind. I wish it was.
It kind of was. I literally 2 hours ago posted a RFK Fauci sort of situation. Dr. Fauci. Can we call him Dr. Fauci? I'm going to stop calling RFK Dr. Fauci from here to eternity. I highly suggest everyone else does.
RFK Jr. shall be forever known now as Dr. Fauci. If you don't know what Fauci is, go look it up. Also, or just come see Liz's new one-woman show, Dr. Fauci, with Lizz Winstead.
The Felch Files.
The Felch Files. Oh, man. We're already.
I don't even know, I don't even know what I'm saying. This is what you do. Every time I come on your show, Pete, I kind of lose my shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to do a public interest show. I'm trying to be professional here. If you could just stop taking it into these directions of the perverseness of so many.
I mean, there's no, we've talked about this so many times on your show. And that is, we have been in this game of trying to, expose political hypocrisy through our humor and our jokes and our stand-up and our work and whatever. And, the path towards, there's no policy really to talk about. And it's just all these weird proclivities and conspiracy theories and just crackpots. It's very bizarre. It used to be kind of fun to write smart jokes about, NAFTA. Not that I'm hearkening back to the days of NAFTA. My audience was much smaller.
Bush Cheney and the war.
Oh my God, the war in Iraq and just being able to drag them for Abu Ghraib and their inhumane ways of thinking and the mustard gas and lying before the UN and what Colin Powell went through and, the axis of evil and who bombing Iraq when there's nothing, all of that was rich in substance. And now I'm just look where I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look where we are in terms of the people that are running the federal government are the worst people. I was about to say the worst men, but Kristi Noem and the woman who's at agriculture is pretty bad. Brooke Rollins. I mean, all of them are so much worse than Trump won. But the women who are doing, and I'm not going to say they're arguably worse, but they're certainly upholding patriarchy.
Yes. I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you can say that. I mean, Kristi Noem ran the state of South Dakota into the ground when it was in the ground. I think the state of South Dakota literally dug itself to China. It's so in the ground. She's so bad. And I just feel it's like that pick me, you hear about pick me girls or pick me people.
Oh yeah. No, my daughter has referred to me as one several times throughout the past 2 years. You're such a pick me.
Oh my God. I don't think that's true, but I feel like not to psychoanalyze, but why not? Why not? They do. We have people not practicing medicine, giving policy things all the time. So I'm going to take my years of therapy and put my hat on and just say it feels like these devotees to Trump. And I remember feeling this about Kellyanne Conway, way back machine Trump sycophants.
Yeah.
And I was like, you never could have your dad see you for what you wanted or love you. And Trump is an abusive figure like that for you. And here you sit trying to remedy the sins of the father with this gross representative of your father. And it's just wow. And then they all sort of become looking this one certain way and that Mar-a-Lago face and the suits and the way they dress. And it's kind of at what point? And the sickness is when you look at Trump, he decides he's going to sue James Comey and he has this real estate attorney or whatever the hell she was who only because she looks like that and because no single other person would take the case, but, or any of it. Yeah, it's just wild to me. It's just wild.
Caroline Leavitt. All these. Let's just bash women.
Picks.
Let's bash women for one more moment because you're here. Which is when he said to a female reporter, "Quiet, Peggy," and other women, including a congresswoman, a couple of them, and Caroline Leavitt and others, basically apologized or excused it. What about that? I mean, where is the line if quiet piggy is not it? Well, that's a weird thing to say.
I mean, I say you're entitled to grab somebody by the pussy is worse than quiet piggy. I don't love either. I don't want to I'm not trying to have a rating system. It's not one's a winner, But where has it been for anything? Where has it been for destroying human beings and stripping children from their families and tear gassing protesters, ICE? Where is any? It goes back to the first thing you said, Pete. Where is any fundamental humanity that knows no party?
Apparently, Lara Trump said to Bill Maher, he didn't say quiet piggy. He said quit McGee.
No.
Is that true? From a reliable person in the live comments, my friend Benny wrote that. Quiet McGee.
Okay, really? Was the reporter's name McGee, or is he just hip? All right, I was just saying, shutty uppy McGee. What? It's just unending. It's unending. And there's so much, I don't know about you, but I'd be curious, when you go out and do shows now, how do you present your reflections of the current time we live in? Because the jokes are done at the end of the day, right? Because of Twitter and the monologues and whatever. Yeah. How are you redoing a reframe so that you can talk about what's happening?
Part of the reason why I'm not doing shows right now, because I'm so much more invested in this work and talking to people this way and not trying to reframe it in a comedy club or in a comedy venue that way. Because of everything that we're saying, I've been so turned off by kind of stand-up and live comedy because it's such a bizarro world in a way. It's almost, as you were saying earlier, to make jokes. You'll be doing shows, by the way, the Parkway Theater.
I, however, am.
27th and December 31st in Minneapolis. People should see the year-end review that Liz does every year. It's wonderful, and you can see it in Minneapolis this December 27th and 31st. Also, of course, everybody should be listening to the podcast. It's Feminist Buzzkills. I want to talk to you about some of the issues of women's reproductive rights. But before I do, Epstein file stuff. Megyn Kelly, what do you think of the things she did and the way some Republicans have not at least gotten on board with how disgusting Epstein was and is, and Ghislaine Maxwell, and suddenly looking the other way? It's such a bizarro world. It's upside down land.
Well, I just don't know what point Megyn Kelly was literally trying to make, especially since she has a 14-year-old daughter. And it's clear there is, if you're trying to justify, protect, but pedophilia, you're really missing the whole point and either have something to hide or something to lose if all of this actually is brought to light. I've said before, I'll say it again. I believe that when we see this vast unfolding of the Technicolor dream pedophiles, it's going to be a lot of people that rely on these big dollar people's money to stay in politics.
You think that a lot of the names that were hiring Epstein to arrange for them to have sex with young girls, those people were Republican donors?
I think they were political donors. Yeah, I do, for sure. I think that they are very wealthy political donors. I also think there may be people who run countries and are politicians or have the ability to make deals for.
A lot of people are focused on the former Israeli guy who went to Epstein Island. Yeah, and that can't be good. Or Prince Andrew, but then now people are talking a lot about what the Russia connection. What are we going to find out about Epstein? And he was had a relationship with Russians, and I just don't know. I
feel like those kind of things are, when you look at the doubling down of protecting people and who we are in bed with and what we're doing, and that weird. There's the whole handling of Ukraine as though Ukraine needs to compromise with Russia, and that compromise is give Russia everything it wants. Who's behind that? The whole thing just feels super weird to me. And did you read the wild 28-point document? The AI translation seems super bizarre. It feels like Boris and Natasha from Bullwinkle are working for the government.
Now there's new news today that a shocking leak transcript of a leaked phone call revealing the top presidential aide, Trump's aide, Witkoff, coaching the Russians on how to win him over. There's a transcript. It's recorded. There's audio. The transcript was published Tuesday by Bloomberg, so this is breaking, I think, while we're talking here. But it's Steve Witkoff, who obviously has Trump's full trust, telling the Russians how to win him over is the summation. I haven't read it, but it's bad. It's so bad.
It is so bad. And
they're so bad. They're so dumb. All this diplomacy, like they have two people working the same deal. No president. Imagine having like two of your cabinet secretaries working any kind of business or diplomatic deal with another country. They're working. It's like The Apprentice. He's got them working against each other, but he's running a nation.
All of it. You know, that 60 Minutes interview with Jared Kushner where they're just talking about they had the plans in place for Gaza. And you're just like,
yeah, Jared looks good though.
You know, I mean, sometimes he looks subspecies. He gets some weird Botox and it's like, you know, they all have to, at this point, I feel like Mar-a-Lago face and all of that is literally just so you have to like hide your disdain for your own self.
What's interesting is that for all of his vanity and weirdness, Gasolini, I'm talking about, and the orangeness of his face, he's never actually seemingly gotten any plastic surgery. And I was reading your posts on Blue Sky, which everybody should follow Liz over there, and Instagram as well. And you said that what was it? There's more drug smugglers in Trump's Chin-gina. Yeah. You would think he'd tighten that up. Also, Chin-gina made me laugh real hard out loud. I'm alone here in my place, and I read your post, and it made me. But why doesn't he get that thing?
You know why? Because here's the deal.
He's afraid.
Think of a Trump sycophant. Die in the will. I am there no matter what. Aspirationally, a guy with a Chin-gina with a bunch of money and he's got a beautiful wife, you know, and he's got the messed up hair and he looks like utter trash. And he's just golfing all the time. You want to keep presenting to those people as the anti-hero. And that's what he does. You know, if he looked good and looked like Gavin Newsom, like I said it when Bush was running for president against John Kerry. I said it then too. It's like, remember there was Bush on the ranch with like Condoleezza and Dick Cheney, you know, and they'd go watch football on their big TV and he's driving around on his golf cart on the ranch. And that is aspirational. Hey, that's awesome. Then he got John Kerry windsurfing. It's like, I don't want to learn how to do that. That's taking time off being on the couch and taking time off the golf cart. I'd rather be watching football with my rich buddies on my ranch.
That's a really good point. To be fair, though, windsurfing would be a little more normal. He was actually kite surfing, which is really rich guy.
Oh, right. He was kite surfing.
No one has access to a kite board. Now, make plenty of good points. I got to ask you, what happened last week? It was Muslim week, and because he had the Crown Prince there from Saudi Arabia. He's a real piece of shit, obviously, for lots of reasons. 9/11 families were none too happy.
Reasons.
Jamal Khashoggi's family, a lot of comedians like him, but also had Mamdani in there.
Yeah,
and all I'm saying is, why is it okay for him to suddenly embrace and welcome Muslims? It's not okay for some of the people like I think Laura Loomer and others who really hate Muslims. But it is interesting that he was able to welcome these Muslims, a really bad one and a really good one.
The thing that I have not heard anybody talking about in the Mamdani story is Mamdani won either 13 or 14% of Trump voters.
It's crazy.
And so when you say, why is Trump being nice to Mamdani, there's a real reason that, you know, like he resonates with his people. right? And that affordability, and, you know, Mamdani didn't take the bait. And it's like, and I saw a lot of weird people were like, oh, so Kamala can't be friends with Liz Cheney, but it's okay for Mamdani to go with Trump, as like some criticism. And I was like, I don't understand that criticism. Liz Cheney is a choice and an optic, and you don't owe Liz Cheney anything. And also, do you know how many voters palling around with a terrorist's daughter? Right, 0 votes, right? Whether or not you like Trump, he has a gigantic hold over New York City of how he can hold back money for New York. And you have to, as the mayor of the largest city, is it larger than LA? I always forget. I live there. I don't even know. Largest city in America, or second largest. You have to deal with the federal government. And people, the federal government in the past year has become one person. One person, Donald Trump. So you have to talk to that asshole, whether you like it or not. And it sounds like Trump was well aware of being called a fascist, and he didn't care. I like to call, and the pictures were so bizarre, right? It was like in front of FDR. That was wild. And I was like, let's make a new deal. Let's have that be the game show.
I will give Mamdani credit for the point that you're making, which was he won 13% of Trump voters. Mamdani made sure to tell Trump that. I don't think Trump knew that coming in. That was how he endeared himself. Hey, man, we have something in common.
I know, but why isn't the media like throwing that out as like, as I haven't heard anybody talk about the fact, that fact. And I think that it's a really,
well, if you hear Mamdani talk about it, he mentions it.
He does. And also, like, people also forget that one of Mamdani's first things that he did was go to the areas of New York where Trump's numbers grew and talk to those folks. Because it wasn't, it was neighborhoods that are struggling.
Why did you vote for Trump? And they said affordability, bring down the cost. And he's like, okay, we're on the same page.
Yeah. And so, I think that those things are important, and I think it's really smart. And I think that I am thrilled with Mamdani. I am thrilled.
But do you think it's too soon to have a Muslim mayor after 9/11?
I think that we had
Do you remember
we had a German president after 9/11 who's done more to this nation, worse to this nation than 9/11. He's done a lot of 9/11ing. I mean, if you look at the family separated, how just America has been destroyed in the scheme of things.
One of the early moments I had that kind of went viral-ish when I first got into like broadcasting was when I was talking to comedian Jim Norton arguing with Jimmy about the Ground Zero Mosque. Remember controversy?
Oh my God! Of course I do. First of all, if you live in New York and you get in a taxi cab, it's basically a mosque. You have a person who is driving you, who is probably Muslim. So you're already like in
New York. I would get down. If I couldn't get a cab in New York, I would put a prayer rug down.
Yeah.
And then they would always stop.
Yeah. I mean, that was the grossest thing ever, because I think so much. And remember Peter King, who was in Congress.
Oh yeah.
He held hearings to say, should we have Muslims serving in the federal government? It was a congressional hearing during that time. And it's like, not only should there be a mosque at 9/11, they should do abortions in it and gay marriages and feed the poor. Like, let's just have it be all,
This is a moderate program. Take it down much.
I'm all for it.
Moderate.
No, I mean, and I just think, it's just kind of wild to just be in a moment where the establishment, and again, with Democrats, where it's frustrating, I think people feel frustrated about the old guard, we're a big tent, except for when the young people who are to the left of us or have new ideas or who want to try something new win. And then we act like they're an anomaly, not like the way forward. Wow. And anytime there's enthusiasm, it's just tamp down.
I like to not say that we're trying something new as democratic socialists, but we're trying something old that worked in this country before, because some people are saying, it's more like an FDR Democrat, a lot of these policies, or try something that might be new to a lot of Americans of this generation. But it sure as hell does seem to work all the way across Europe. Whereas I say, it's my understanding, Liz, they live longer and happier lives. That sounds like a good thing. Like the longer life, happier life seems like a good metric. But if it means government grocery stores, then I'm out, I guess.
Well, also, let's talk about those, right? First of all, we all know every PX on every base is a government grocery store. But second, a pilot program in boroughs where private run grocery stores won't open, so people can't get fresh food and they rely on delis and pay a whole bunch. Why shouldn't we try it? We will pour tons of money into the National Guard invading our cities or other bullshit pilot programs in cities that don't work. Why not try something and see if it works? I don't understand not wanting to try something innovative.
Well, the reason not to try it is the special interest that wouldn't want a government run anything to compete with their private sector, everything. You're right. The better example, I guess, is the fact that you and I both know and have been on the front lines of fighting for public education, which has been under attack by the right forever. They want to privatize everything. Grocery stores are pretty much privatized. So any idea that you would move anything from healthcare to groceries towards some kind of more government, even if it was a hybrid public-private, or even if it was a little bit more regulated, now the administration, the regime is going to let them spray whatever they want on our vegetables as well. So they're rolling back environmental standards. Apparently RFK's Felches are going to be
in our meat. We're going to have meat Felch. Enjoy. Who's against? This is the whole thing. Who's clamoring to not have your milk inspected and your beef inspected? I'm just going to take a chance on these eggs. You've paid too much for them, and now, it's a fucking crapshoot. I don't want to feel like when I'm eating dinner that I'm in Vegas, and then we're going to go to the, Sphere to see you too.
The rest of regulation in general, from banking regulation to housing regulation to environmental regulation, you're talking drug regulation. It's wild. Before I have to let you go, and I never want to let you go. I wish I were there with you right now.
Never want to let you go. I've got you holding in my arms forever. Anyway, what?
Sorry. I want to ask you about women's reproductive rights update. I've got a whole, we did a whole music thing for it. Play it. It's the Women's Reproductive Rights Update with Lizz Winstead.
That's really good. Never do that again. Anyway, so I think what we need to look for 2026, if you haven't been following, there is, again, Dr. Fauci has been using a fake science study to relitigate the efficacy and safety of medication abortion, which has been on the market for 25 years, since 2000 in the United States, and invented in France in 1988, because a bunch of right wingers came up with they did a paper. It's like a website, and they looked at some insurance claims of people who use their insurance to get medication abortion. And then anything that happened to them after they got their medication abortion, let's say they went to the emergency room because they stubbed their toe, they counted that as an abortion complication.
Oh.
So it is just the fakiest of bullshittiest of studies that they're going to try to use to roll back access. And that's something we really need to look for in 2026, because it's really scary, because this guy hasn't met a conspiracy theory that he hasn't fallen in love with. The other thing that is sweeping the nation, starting in Wisconsin, is something called a catch kit. And it's as creepy as it's going to sound. So the conspiracy theorists are trying to, again, appeal to RFK by saying that there's, abortions in the water, which there's poop in the water too. It goes through flurry. If people are drinking wastewater, I can't help you. But if someone has a miscarriage, guess what happens? They mostly have it on a toilet. and it goes through the sewage system into the purification system and whatever. It's not in your drinking water, but they're trying to say that there's medication abortion and abortions in the water. So they want to have anybody who has a miscarriage or takes medication abortion and has their abortion, they have to use a catch kit where they literally have a contraption that catches what they expel from their body. And then they have to present it to, I'm not sure who, either law enforcement or doctors or someone, to prove that they didn't have an illegal whatever the hell came out of them. I'm starting to think I'd like people to catch that and mail it to the politicians who wrote that law.
Are abortions poisoning us all? That's the latest line of attack from Republicans in Wisconsin and elsewhere, with lawmakers arguing that women who take abortion pills must prevent their blood and fetal tissue from contaminating the water supply.
Yeah. But old Felchie mouth can just like have that right in the toilet. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. How about a catch kit for suck and spit? Do you want that catch kit?
Actually, that reminds me of the live read I have to do. Folks, new suck and spit catch kit.
I mean, like, it's crazy. And also, like, you know, there was just another story. ProPublica has been really terrific on showing how bad these abortion bans have harmed people.
Yes, I saw that.
A woman just recently, it was found that she saw, Pete, 90 healthcare providers, doctors, nurses, LPNs, who did not give her life-saving abortion after she was guiding them through her own
walker.
Yes. And 90. And she died. And it is the stories like that are endless. You know, they just ignore women, and especially Black women and women of color. They ignore when they're having health symptoms. They ignore when they're advocating for themselves. And we have a lot of work to do still. It's just when it seems like whether we're talking about abortion or talking about anything, when people can't get their crackpot idea to become law, they just start making shit up. And it's just, I don't know how we get back to reality, but like, I'm sorry. It's just, I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't know what to say.
It's true of everything, but when it comes to certainly people of color, undocumented people, immigrants, brown people, whatever, but when it comes like gender stuff, and I certainly don't like to put them all in a catch kit, but when it comes to gay, trans, or just women, it's like there's so much made up shit about those population. Like, it's just so constant and it's so preposterous that sometimes I'm like, well, nobody's going to believe this.
Right.
And then, oh my God, it's divided my entire town Board of Education fight. They really think that boys are transitioning into girls so they can go in the girls' locker rooms and see them naked and stuff, which, I mean, the fact that people would believe that.
Youth pastors are walking right in without taking any HRTs at all. Cis, hetero youth pastors just going in there and harming people, not trans people, those people. It's sickening. And also, and this is the other reason why it's just like.
I'm a youth pastor now, by the way. We haven't talked in a while.
I'm so glad we didn't. Did you get your internet youth pastoring online? I feel like that's a new trend. You're not just marrying people anymore. You're just doing it all. But, you know, and I feel like this is why coming and having and welcoming young folks into leadership who have a lived experience of the world we're living in, instead of having politicians push back or ask trans people, queer people, women, Black folks, immigrants to just stop complaining a bit so we can get this, you know, infrastructure bill passed. You know what? Democrats, I understand we need infrastructure for the love of God, but regular folks are hurting and are being harmed. And we need to deal with immediate harm and have immediate solutions so that your infrastructure bill can actually also get passed. But come on, talk to real people about what they're going through.
I don't care as much about vulnerable people when it comes to like infrastructure.
Yeah. You know, maybe we could just build the bridges out of the vulnerable people. It's like a new version of Jonathan Swift. We're not going to eat the poor anymore. We're going to use the poor as infrastructure.
I think this bridge is moving.
It has a heartbeat.
I just saw a video where, I'll let you go, but I just saw a video where somewhere in Asia, some Buddhist funeral, the woman is in the casket and started moving.
Don't they embalm people?
Well, she wasn't dead yet.
What do you mean? Why were they having a funeral for somebody who wasn't dead yet?
I don't know what. I just saw the video. It was really.
Was it AI? Are you sure you weren't duped?
Oh God, I hate that shit so much.
I know.
Do you ever watch them and laugh at them?
At AI?
Yeah.
You know what? I got to be honest. The dogs with the talk show, I do laugh when they tell dad jokes. The two dogs that have a podcast. Any AI with animals, I am here for.
Oh, you are?
I am, sadly, but no other AI.
Okay.
Just with animals.
Lizz Winstead, she's done it again. We've taken up so much of her time. We really appreciate you.
What a riot.
Listen, go see Liz December 27th, 31st in Minneapolis. If you're out there, her year-end in review is
fun. I have video. I have graphics. It's like it's a wild ride of the year.
And also, of course, listen to Feminist Buzzkills and follow Liz on Instagram and Blue Sky and Facebook. And we are honored.
Follow Abortion Access Front, my organization, at Abortion Front, all over social. And the podcast is also from Abortion Front. So we are the forefront folks on bringing you abortion news. But in this kind of like setting, we're not stiffs.
I wish we could make something just happen and go viral. And then my wish is that, and I'm going to go clip it up and I'm going to post it everywhere.
You think Dr. Fauci's not going to bring it to the next level?
If everybody could just be together and refer to RFK Jr. from now on as Dr. Fauci, that would be worth talking to you today.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, fans, for watching. Thanks, fam, everybody. It was great to have a little combo. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Be safe.
Yeah, there she goes, everybody. Lizz Winstead. How about it? So good. Abortion Access Front. Follow her on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Facebook. See her live December 27th, 31st in Minneapolis, her year-end roundup. Listen to the podcast, Feminist Buzzkills, and go subscribe to that right now. Patreon.com/Pete Dominic. I am thankful for you for being here, for being you, and that is all I have. I will be back tomorrow. I've got shows tomorrow. I should have shows Friday. Great conversations coming your way. No days off this week, really. Well, accidentally, although I didn't take a day off. I worked all day, just was unable to post a show. And so I don't know why I'm still talking. I'm just glad that you're still here. You are my bumblebees. Did you hear my voice crack just now? I'm not even going to change it. No edits. Love you guys. Bye-bye. John Carroll, johncarroll.org, taking us out.
I think you're driving wheels in leaking grease. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. Well, there's a whole lot more of us who know what's right. They'll keep right on ignoring us if we keep sitting tight. You got to open up the window to let in some light. You got to stand up. That's right. You got to rise up. You got to stand up. You got to stare the devil straight in the eye. We got to let him know it's his turn to go. See it clear when all you hear is a lie. Don't get up off of your butt, down off of your fence. Even if it ain't a very friendly audience, well, they'll begin to listen when you start making sense. And you stand up. Stand up. No need to point your rifle to defend your town. Just stand up. Stand up. You know they can't deny you what you're laying down. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. Show your face of every color, yellow, black, red, and brown. She's the place where every lost child will finally be found. There's only one thing to do before we stand our ground, and that's stand up. Stand up. Well, the founding fathers saw a land for all. They had to stand up. They had to stand up. They had a keen imagination for a crystal ball, drawing all the plans of stand up. But all they had to go on was the time they were in, with other causes for laws, and since they weren't even sin, they knew that change was gonna come before the change to begin. They had to stand up. All right, they had to stand up. We got to stand up. We got to look the devil square in the eye. We gotta let him know it's his time to go and make it clear when all we hear is a lie. Why you lying awake wondering where the money all went? It'll be the cost of freedom that'll go unspent. You can see him flee the scene of that experiment if you stand up. Alright, we got to speak up, we got to reach up and raise your voice in every way you know how. Don't be toes up, you got to show up. Ain't no better time to do it but now. No need to pledge allegiance to no wanton tribe. Rise up, show obedience to the voice inside. And listen well and it'll tell you not to run and hide. It says stand up.